Enjoy the show. I want to see too.
Lugnutz, the inaugural podcast. What do you need cup holders for? You're driving.
You can get it as low as $145,000.
And a skin on Fortnite. Unless you're Lieutenant Dan, you're not fitting in the back seat.
I think it's neat looking.
Put that back where you found it. Don't do that. You are correct, Mr. Willman. Let's go live.
We're going to do it live.
Reporting live for our people on the field, podcast number 79 of the Perjangers and Wallhangers Media Network.
All right. We're live. We're recording.
Yeah.
Test. 1, 2, 1, 2.
So as you guys can see from the little text word monitor thing down here, this is a different podcast. This podcast is Steve's idea.
This podcast is our car podcast where we're going to go over car news. Eventually we'll have car segments, things like that. We're going to talk about all things car related. We plan on doing segments at Cars and Coffee where would you call him, a car expert?
I would say a car enthusiast.
Car enthusiast. Well, we haven't run this by him yet, but we will. He's going to agree. He does it anyway, so we're just going to film him when he goes through these car things.
I just sent him an invite to check this on out because this is the first of what is going to be many car podcasts.
Yes, a car-related podcast. We're going to cover all the car-related news in the world of cars. Our first... You can find us in the Perjangers and Wallhangers website here, pjandwh.com.
Yes.
Where I will totally get a bio up eventually. And you can contact us at some point.
Yeah, right here. Boom, contact us.
So we have news on all the latest car companies. We're going to start with Ford. We'll go to Chevy. Volkswagen has stuff, a few concept cars. Mazda has cars that are hallucinating. So our first story is the Ford Mustang is going to be developing a Mach-E. So we have a concept photo here. Looks like they're going to be working with Volkswagen. They're partnering with Volkswagen. It's a rumor for their new electric car. Got this from Auto Express. Don't expect it anytime soon.
It's a weird front end.
That is a weird front end. It could just be a
weird
Mustang concept car they have here. It's like there's no grill, and it's very much that looks like a camera directly in front.
Yeah, right here. And
so the car will have 302 horsepower and a 300-mile range. We'll be partnering with Volkswagen to develop the Mustang Mach-E. So they're going to be going to contend with all the big names in Mustangness.
that is certainly an interior, though.
It's definitely a interesting concept.
Yeah, it speaks volumes there, but
and with Ford, you do want a very simple. Don't give me too much in terms of like the way Camaro does with interiors. I don't need a cockpit. Just give me a car. So I think that concept looks pretty neat. They don't really have anything yet, but standard Mustang it looks like.
See there, you see that in the Teslas, the big screen.
Yeah, big screen. It's the electric thing that they do now.
Yeah.
I like the dash. It's very simplistic. Looks like they have that felt.
And then they got the turnstile.
Yeah, the turndials, which they have in all their cars. I mean, which now the Mustang is their only car.
I mean, that's it. Here, what you really don't see in a lot of stuff, but there's the center dash there. You can really get rid of that, like they did in the old cars.
They do have. Then it would be like the Lexus LFA, and they'd have no cup holders.
Very true.
But Ford, they think of the cup holders.
The Germans would not have a problem with no cup holders. What do you need cup holders for? You're driving.
And the next story also has to do. This is more recent, and this next story is also petrol powered.
Ooh.
I really like this photograph. They're doing the new Shelby GT500.
You look at that.
It is a nod to the Green Hornet concept car. If you look at it, it's a beautiful color.
It is.
You're not going to find that in other car dealers. I don't see BMW coming out.
You don't. And you know what? I noticed this a while ago. You don't see green.
No, you don't ever see green except for
like Mitsubishi.
Honda will do it. Honda will give you a green car. There's someone who has a very ugly green car. But this one on the screen here is very nice looking car.
Oh, yeah.
So the cost, the base cost is $100,000.
No thanks.
Yeah. So the Barrett-Jackson auction in January.
Yeah.
They auctioned off the prototype specification example for $1.1 million just for the specs.
Oh wow!
It is I don't think you even get a car. And the Barrett-Jackson vice president or president, somebody Jackson.
Yeah.
John Jackson.
Is it Jermaine Jackson?
I don't think it was Jermaine. Oh, see, there you go. They got the base coat. The coat is a lime green base coat with a candy apple on top, green on top. Dealers, you can, if you shop around now, they're doing pre-orders. You can get it as low as $145,000.
And a skin on Fortnite. I added that.
Skin on Fortnite. So you can drive it in Fortnite, but some dealers in California are charging as much as $170,000. It's a beautiful looking car, great color.
And you look at that engine. Oh
man.
My God, that engine and transmission right there, man. That is a beast.
Yeah, this is a really nice looking car they got going on here. 760 horsepower, 14 miles to the gallon, 625 pounds of torque. It'll be working with a 5.2 liter V8 supercharged engine, a 2.56 liter Easton supercharger.
Oof. Nasty.
That is definitely deserves the Shelby logo.
Oh yeah, man. And I mean, a lot of hard work and determination go into making those Shelby cars, but if you can get one, oh yeah, that's
especially if you have an extra $200 grand.
And we say hello to Chris Bristow watching in.
Hey,
we might know that guy.
Yeah, he's got about 7 jobs. You can afford one of these now. Oh wait, he's got kids. Sorry.
Yeah.
So in our next story, we have they're not, if you remember years ago, they discontinued, this should be the Crown Vic. Oh, this is the specifications. Some people are charging on the Ford. They're charging as much as $170,000 for it.
GT500 though.
And if you go to the next story, they'll have the specs.
I actually like the red better.
I do like the red pops, but I'd have to go with that green. That green is hot. Is a hot colored car. Oh, it looks good in every color. That's a nice sexy looking car.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Green, blue, whatever color. You know, may not be the most. This is the specs.
Ooh.
So the MSRP is $70,000.
4-seat coupe.
And it comes with 4 seats. I don't think anyone's actually going to be using.
Well, so does the NSX,
seats.
But the NSX, unless you're Lieutenant Dan, you're not fitting in the back seat.
Yeah, let's see what next if we go on to the next story.
Nope, not 80. We're not on podcast 80 yet.
Oh, the Crown Vic. So
yeah,
Chevy is not doing a Crown Vic anytime soon, but I see the concept. This is a fan-made concept.
Ew. No.
I think it's neat looking. The back end is, I mean, it doesn't have a license plate, but...
Put that back where you found it. Don't do that.
It was definitely a fan concept.
This one is better. This one's better, but I mean,
they're not going to do it anytime soon. I just think it's a neat looking car, and
it is
because everyone
with the front end there, that's a nice front.
Oh
end.
yeah,
but that back end, I can't approve that. I can't approve that.
It looks like a Crown Vic. That's all it looks like.
Well, yeah, but it looks
That
like
one, I think that looks like the old, but a little more curvy on the top end there. If you look at the top corners, a bit more curvy than the Crown Vics you see rolling around 3 blocks away.
Yeah, and then the shaved door handles.
Shaved door handles. I don't see them doing that in the actual car, but as a concept.
As a concept, yeah, but I see a whole bunch of problems with that, especially living in the Northeast. You get one winter storm. Yeah, I can't come in. Why? I can't open my door. I can't open it.
And car dealers are moving away from cars, which is really a shame.
Everybody gets an SUV. They're Oprah in that bitch.
Now, this next story. Let me start with I don't like SUVs. I'm not a fan of SUVs.
Chevrolet, Tahoe.
Chevy, talking of the car market, where it's going, these are the only 3 pictures for this story. The Chevy Tahoe and Suburban, they're getting a new remake.
Yeah, that's a very Chevy front end.
It's very Chevy front end.
Yeah.
So the Tahoe, in the SUV market, Chevy is the biggest section of SUVs. They sell more large SUVs than anyone else. 31% of the market of SUVs is the Tahoe. 15% is the Suburban. 22% is the Yukon.
My God. Imagine, you hate parking my car. Imagine parking that.
Your car is a few feet shorter than that.
But Jesus.
Can you imagine finding a parking spot on the street with that
No.
freaking vehicle? Holy. That one doesn't look bad for an SUV.
I mean, Chris may need something like this for all 47 of his kids, but the normal day-to-day person, love you, buddy, the normal person doesn't need that space.
Yeah, they don't really need that space. The Tahoe has a small block V8, and the Suburban has an inline 6. The Tahoe is a V8. The Tahoe has a small block V8,
Yeah.
or it has the option of a inline 6 diesel. Nasty taste in your mouth with that.
Yeah, diesel. But, I mean, you can get a lot of torque out of a diesel engine.
But an inline 6. They are featuring innovations such as a push-button start.
Well, it's about time for them to get that. Then they won't have any problems with their ignitions.
And an independent rear suspension. Whoa! Look out, Mercedes.
Yeah.
Here they come.
I mean, even Kia's done
No
that
more
for a
ox
while.
carts for them.
Yeah.
They lead the market in large SUVs with their leaf springs and for the front end, like an ox cart.
I mean, that's a very Chevy.
It's
front.
very Chevy, and I think Ford going out of going into the SUV market, they're contending with the Giant because these people have
Ford's
got
always had
a
a stranglehold.
large portion of the market.
Yeah, Ford's always had a stranglehold on the commercial market for as far as their vans and trucks and stuff like
Yeah.
that. They've always been very strong with that, but I know a lot of people who still prefer Chevy trucks. So Chevy does it right with trucks. I know even a guy I work with loves his Chevy truck. A couple of them now have a Chevy truck, and they do trucks right, especially with the SUV market. It's nice that they can do something right.
Yeah.
Some companies can't even say that.
Yeah. So I think Ford's got to watch themselves as they go into the next market. Next story. Speaking of end of the road, some vehicles are getting discontinued
9.
in the next year. We have 9 vehicles. Actually, a 10th, which is the last one, which isn't on here. The first one is the Fiat 500. It was born in 2012, and nobody liked it.
I gotta tell you, man, I worked for Chrysler, and we had Fiats in the shop for a while. No.
It's not.
Thanks.
Other than that one episode of Top Gear where everyone had one in England, I think nobody else wants the stupid thing.
I mean, they couldn't even make an armrest.
Yeah, if you go lower.
Their armrest would fall off on the 500s and the Abarths,
Yeah.
which the Abarth was like, oh, this is our race model. And they couldn't.
The Abath, the Abath is probably the only one in retrospect that you're gonna want.
Oh,
Don't
no.
drive it.
Yeah.
and try Captain Crunch.
Not a Jag. You can't tell me they're not.
The Jag XJ11 was born in 2011, and
Clarkson
nobody
will be
likes
heartbroken.
it
Yeah.
because it's a Jag. I'm sure it looks nice.
It does look nice. It's got a nice front end there with the headlights.
It's not bad, but it just can't really compete.
We'll call
So
it
that's-
so we don't get sued teardrop kind of headlights, kind of slanty.
There, I like the front end, but
Yeah.
I can't afford a Jag on my non-for-profit set.
Yeah.
So there's another photo. That's not bad. It looks good in
2016
red.
XJ. I mean, in Dubai,
The
maybe
motor
people
show.
will buy it.
Oh, this Buick. Look at this Buick.
Oh God.
This is the
Cascadian.
ugliest Buick. This one I think debuted in 2019, and nobody liked it. It is really ugly.
Actually, I think my head is in the way. There we go. Yeah, now I won't be in the way. Now you can see it now that my head isn't in the way.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. This
that's a
Buick is something else. It's quite a Buick.
Yeah, that is a Buick. It's a very
The
Buick.
Lincoln MKC. That's the
another
Buick.
That is an ugly ass. I
It,
mean,
you know what it reminds me of? That Volkswagen Cabriolet, whatever it was.
the CC.
No. There was a Cabrio. It wasn't the Jetta or the Golf, but it was a girl version. It looked like it was designed by a woman for a woman, and that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I forget the name of it.
I forget the name of it at the moment, but that's what it looks like. The Chevy Impala. They're
Oh,
getting
the
rid of it.
MKC,
And the
I
only
see.
other competitor to the Chevy Impala, that's the MKZ. Nobody cares about it.
Yeah, Lincoln. Not, I mean,
Nobody
unless you're an
cares.
old
Here's the
white
Chevy
man.
Impala. The only other competitor was the Ford Taurus, and they discontinued that last year.
That's kind of the end of an era right there with the Impala gone.
Yeah, that's it. So if you're a Chevy fan,
I mean,
maybe you
if
might
look
want to.
back, Chevy Impalas, that was like the moniker of like, oh, this is an Impala.
Yeah,
Oh my God. Yeah.
back in the day.
Back in the day. And it was, I mean, even still, you go into like the 90s with the Impalas there, they were still reliable.
Yeah, it's not a
And
horrible car.
I know a bunch
guess,
of people
but-
with Impalas, and they loved them. They would not stop raving about them. That's a sad notion. Even though I'm not a big American car fan, I can still recognize when something bad happens.
And
Like
this one here, the Cadillac CT6, nobody likes
Somebody
that.
was watching way too many futuristic movies.
And the next one is the end of an era. The Toyota Prius C. It started in 2012, and that's it.
Wow, the Prius C. That
I'm
was
sure
their
they're gonna,
small- Yeah, that was their
That's
small
it.
Prius because they when I was going to a technical school for mechanics, I went to Toyota's program, and they said, yeah, they're planning on breaking it up. It's not just going to be a Prius. They kind of started off what Xbox wants to do with the Xbox gaming console, Series X, and then they'll have X1 and all that. That's where Prius was. Prius was a car, and then you have the Prius C, you have the Prius EV, you have all these other different kinds of Priuses. It's a Prius, but there are multiple different chassis models for them. And that's, obviously all of them aren't going. It's not like all Priuses are leaving, so it's not like we can throw the parade just yet.
Yeah.
XQ30. I will never forget that car. That was the car. I was selling cars.
No.
and-
Everyone will forget it. It's not going to exist anymore.
Well, no, but the XQ30 was the car. This young Asian kid was going to college, and he was like, "Yeah, my dad wants me to have a car," and he almost killed me in this car because it was like highway speeds, and he just starts going what right on the wheel. I thought I was going to die.
Oh,
Yeah, I still have PTSD from that, so I am glad that car is leaving. No one else will be traumatized like I was.
Yeah, it's not very good looking. It kind of looks like all the rest. And this ugly ass thing,
I'll tell you
Ford
what,
Flex.
Troy will never forget this car. This car,
It's-
that's what took out his STI.
It's hideous.
A Ford
To
Flex
do
hit
that-
him, and the Ford Flex was like not even really, and he broke multiple bones and legs and hips and shit.
It's
and
a
it took him
hideous.
a while to walk because of that shit. That shit, if you have one, it's a battering ram.
It's ugly.
Very-
It's a box with wheels.
God,
it's,
look at that. Is that two-tone? You got a white roof? Ew.
Yeah, like pick a color.
Go to timeout.
Even if you were to, it would look a little better. It wouldn't look a little better. The roof should be black.
Yeah, I mean, well, black, all black, because you with the window trim. You see the window trim right here going into a black roof. That would be classy because you have the the black on black, and then maybe a little more gunmetal on the rims there, and that would be nice.
Yeah, their styling is lines on the side, and this one, which is there is no photo. It's on the other side of the page of the BMW Quattro Turbo Diesel. They might be ending the Quattro Turbo Diesel in BMW.
They need to skip up their game on different kinds of.
If I'm getting a diesel, I'm not getting it for the power. I'm not getting it because I'm a car guy. Yeah. I'm getting it because it's a diesel.
Yeah.
This next story I picked because I really, really like the photograph for Honda.
Okay.
Here it comes. Get ready.
Honda CEO?
That's the photo you pick. Look at that photo. You forgot they cut the guy's head off.
Yeah, let's be honest. You don't care what he looks like? No. Honda Urban EV
Yes,
concept.
I will stand in front of our car. Honda says they're going to go more towards electric vehicles.
Yeah.
And it's a very ugly looking car. If you go down, there should be another photo. I think nobody cares about that.
Honda's honestly
Look
really
at this concept car.
They really do have a lot of technology in Hondas. Something that
This is their ugly concept. This is
their. What is that?
This is a scooter, which I think someone was watching.
Coming to a giant near you.
Coming in Japan. It looks like it came from an anime. Someone will be delivering noodles in Japan. Yeah. On that, you'll see them.
It's very much a Japanese thing because there's, especially with their small streets and everything, you have a little scooter like that. That's going to be popular in Japan.
And the scooter sort of leads into our next story. It's sort of it seemed groundbreaking for me, even though I'm not a motorcycle person. If this was Top Gear, this is where we do a tribute. If this were Top Gear, this is where we do a tribute
we have
to
a clapper.
Yes. This were. Speaking of the dark side, Honda Corporation has built 400 million motorcycles.
That's what we call an amazing segue.
400 million is quite a lot of motorcycles. If this was Top Gear or Grand Tour, we'd have a segment on Honda motorcycles. But we can't afford that, and we thought of this last night. So,
cut to our video.
Yes, in the future we'll drive it, and
we'll bring this back.
But we won't. We'll talk about it later. Oh, this is a chart on
India.
Who has. So half the world's population is India and China.
I can't help but notice there's a theme here.
Yeah. India, China, and Asia is. If you get that's most of the world's population.
5%
That's
South
like
America. Not surprised.
That
China,
is about
7.
65 to 70% of the world's population drives a Honda.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of thought China would be bigger.
Yeah. Well,
1.5 million, that's nothing.
If you go back
that's
to...
a spit in the bucket. There's billions of them over.
Oh, yeah. If you go back to Grand Tour, when they went to China, China is a big fan. We love you, China, and we're hoping you save the world with your bizarre government you got going on over there. But they're a big fan of intellectual property.
The cousins of the Japanese.
Yeah. The little bitter blood since the World War I and II. Next.
Mascot hero of time. Link, get the back here, you little bastard. Come here.
Up next, we have Volkswagen. This is an alternative to the SUV or electric car, or the electric SUV.
Okay.
The words aren't important.
An electric hatchback?
This is what they say is a revolutionary new option. It's an electric sedan estate car.
Okay.
It's an electric wagon. So that's what they got going. It's interesting looking. It's just very German looking.
But just like I was saying before, see the black roof?
Yeah,
the
black roof, white. It's not horrible.
This is very German because German engineering, they engineer it for a reason. You may not know the reason, but there is a reason there. So that's where everything Volkswagen will be great up to 100,000.
The paint job, I do like the paint job, how it's just that scoop.
Yeah,
that odd scoop in the front, the hood in the front. Yeah. It is a very nice looking
very
paint
sleek,
job.
very Volkswagen.
All white. Yeah. It's a estate, but
and I imagine there would be a lot of room on the interior too, because Volkswagens are extremely deceptive when it comes to their interiors. The GTI, man, I had a 08 GTI, and it was huge on the inside. Because they're rocker panels. When you look at the rocker panels on a BMW, like a Volkswagen or a German car, the rocker panels go up high into the door. So that way it's preventing against flooding. So they're thinking of these little things, getting you lower to the center of gravity in the car, and even down to like how to adjust your seat.
Yeah. German cars are a lot like Klingons. They've thought of everything. Let's see what we
never fails with Link. You are correct, Mr. Willman. So from Volkswagen to
Volkswagen, you just a photo here.
Volkswagen to a Baby Yoda.
So Volkswagen, just the photo is what I really wanted.
Yeah.
They're working on a pump for an electric car. This goes along with the last story. A pump that plugs itself in for you. It looks neat, and they gave it eyes. You see the little eyes there.
I mean, kind of like WALL-E.
A little arm. You'd probably have to park very specifically for it to work. So
it would all depend on and then you can't have that in like Philly where you have cobblestones. That robot's not going to do well.
Yeah. People in Jersey will be happy. For those of you who are listening out of the country, in the state of New Jersey, they're not allowed to pump their own gas. So when you meet someone who's never been out of the state of New Jersey, because we're in Pennsylvania,
they will say, I've worked
they sit there.
They sit in this. Yeah.
What do I do?
I used to work at a Wawa, and I had a woman. Wawa, for you, those of you who aren't blessed with them in the Northeast, it's a store in the Northeast, very popular food chain, gas station. And I had a woman from Jersey come in. She was yelling at me, saying she's been sitting out there for a half hour and nobody has come to pump her gas. And I was like, well, ma'am, it's Pennsylvania. You have to pump your own gas. And she got instantly white and walked out the door. I think that's when she realized she was mistaken. Please learn to fast before you go yelling at somebody. That just gets embarrassing. Like that. And then it ends up on a podcast.
The next story has to deal with BMW.
Okay.
So BMW...
The I4.
That's not the story. Oh, yeah. There was another story. Okay.
Yeah.
There was another story.
GTA range.
Right. The i4... They have the new i4 sedan, and it must be in the opposite order. Yeah. It'll have 500. There's a photo of it there. It's kind of.
It almost looks like a Lincoln. You know?
Yeah, they got that BMW bucktooth look in the front.
Oh God, yeah.
And it's very bizarre looking.
Somebody made a mistake on the clay model, and they just said, "Oh no, I intended it to look like that. Like it looks." Artistic, very flattering. It's very edgy with having a very simple aerodynamic.
So this car is kind of revolutionary. Do they have more photos below?
We can find out.
No,
a whole lot of words. They got words for you.
They have words for you.
This is the only picture.
So they have a different two-tier charging system. It should get. With a full charge, 337 miles of range. But they say that that you can get 62 miles of range in 6 minutes of charge.
Okay.
They use with a 150 kilowatt. You see that there on the screen. DC fast charge. So,
I mean, that's the main thing with electric.
But 62 miles for 6 minutes. That's not bad. because then that'll get me home.
Yeah. I mean, it's 6 minutes. Yeah, that's pretty good because that's what really held back electric vehicles was not being able to just gas it up like a car and go. You got to sit and wait, and that's why Elon went and put games on his Teslas so you're at least entertained.
Yeah, but 6 minutes. 6 minutes isn't all that bad.
Yeah, that's okay. 6 minutes
for 62 miles. I live,
You're gonna be within that 62-mile range. You're gonna be within
62 miles can take you really far. Let's see if the other BMW story showed up as contrast. Otherwise, I will go to a picture of BMW. No.
Not Mercedes.
All right. Well, BMW, they also have a wireless charging station that they're working on for bikes. It will take 40 minutes to charge the bike.
Welcome, Corey. Corey Vance. My buddy used to do podcast. Well, not podcast, but he used to do videos with him.
Excellent. Hi, Corey.
Yeah.
This one here is a new concept for Mercedes. Not any information on it. I just think it looks neat.
And I just like those words right there. Future is electric.
Oh yeah.
It sounds like a perfume commercial.
Another electric car
Mixed
for
with the Beatles.
Mercedes, but it looks really
Because
nice.
you got the guy walking towards the car.
Yeah, like you couldn't just show me the car.
You're not John.
This is the only photo. And it was a concept car shown in Japan, oddly enough.
No, that looks like something you would show the Japanese.
It looks like something from what was that movie that Tom Cruise was in with the psychics that they
Minority Report.
Minority Report looks like at a Minority Report. How they did that futuristic Cadillac they sold.
Yeah, and even in
kind of looks like that
movie iRobot with the what was it, the Audi?
And since it's a concept car, it will look nothing like that. But that is a really nice car to look
You
at.
never get the cool concept.
Oh yeah. Next, we go a bit more lowbrow with a car for everybody, Kia. Hyundai.
Same thing.
Kia and Hyundai, they're working. Yes, Hyundai here is the Kia story next. All right, no, whatever. All right, I'll talk about it with the picture of their flying car. Hyundai is working on the concept of a flying car, which, to those of you who don't know, it looks or listening. Which, for those of you who are listening, it looks exactly like a helicopter.
Well, yeah, it looks like if you mix the drone, like the drone propellers, onto like a sperm. Yeah.
I don't think they know they've invented a helicopter. That's not a car.
Well, no, that's not a car, but it does look like a sperm with drone wings.
It looks like
propellers. It'll fly.
Hopefully, it'll be powered by actual gas.
Yeah, it'll fly
instead of whatever.
Fly.
Kia is also working on a concept car, which I think is absolutely amazing. For 2021 is when they think it's going to come out. 500-mile range, and they want it. And Renault is also working on something similar. Yeah. Renault wants to sell the car for 10,000 euros.
Wow.
And Kia is working on a reasonable priced car as well.
Well, that was the car for Top Gear, the reasonably priced car. It was the
Kia Ceed, C-E''D.
Yeah, that was a horrible car. So
Mazda.
Right here with Mazda.
Mazda has a problem with hallucinating cars.
They have a problem with
So I picked this one because I think it's very funny. Mazda's cars are hallucinating, and they're randomly activating. Just go up to the picture. No one cares about the words.
Yeah.
They're randomly activating the emergency brake. So you're driving along, and all of a sudden, for no reason, stops.
Yeah, a lot of manufacturers are having problems with this because with the active braking system, the smart braking system for Mazda, Acura's is the CMBS. All these manufacturers are creating something like that, and it's using cameras. So there could be different kind of things to where the camera thinks it's picking up. I know of one instance to where the car was stopping because it was catching the sign for for a highway, and it was reflecting off of that, and it was stopping, and the person was like, I almost died. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. But that's the kind of problems you're having with the braking systems now, is you have to be able to do that. And Acura, they have like a special procedure to where if you're wearing a shiny belt buckle, it could throw it off. Like, they're very intricate systems.
So it's not an Elon Musk designed system.
No. Although he probably has them on the...
Mazda is also working on... They say long-range electric vehicles are worse for the environment. Is that the next story up there? You probably didn't make it either. And they're right. So Mazda, since we're on the topic of Mazda, they say there was a very nice chart.
This is a Jag.
Well, the Jag is next. Mazda, they had a very nice chart that shows how overall for the environment, whereas electric vehicles make you feel good inside because there's no spewing out the back.
Yeah, but
when the electric comes from the plug, and that plug, because we're Pennsylvania and most of the world, is powered by coal. So that's roughly the worst thing for the environment ever. And I saw a news story on Science something or another that they think they can get rid of the radiation from nuclear power plants with lasers, but they don't know how.
Chris Bristow says, and a bad idea. I don't trust anyone breathing let alone driving or flying.
Yeah, with the flying cars.
Flying car, no.
I really wouldn't trust
There's a reason why it takes you so long to get a helicopter pilot's license.
Yeah.
I don't want any nitwit flying a helicopter and crashing on my house because he's drunk.
Yeah, we have a lot of crazy stories that pop up in the podcast. I don't want any of those people having access to a flying car that could potentially kill a lot.
Can you imagine if it had random automatic braking issues?
Just
in the flying car, and it just falls out of the air.
Yeah, it said brake, but there was nothing in front
There's
of me.
There's not even a cloud in the sky.
There wasn't even a fly, man. What
Those
the
flying
hell?
cars would be absolute chaos.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that turns out.
So the next story is about Jaguar. They have an interesting take.
There's a little Jag.
Jag, in this story, I think they might have other photos below. In this story, Jag believes that the Jag F-Type is in the same class as a V8 Mustang.
Not at all. But
so it is a very nice looking car.
Yeah, that's a nice front end right there.
The Jaguar F-Type has a 6-speed manual transmission, 557 horsepower.
That's a bold move.
516 pounds of torque. How much do you think it costs?
For Jag, probably a lot, but
They say the reasonably priced Jag, the base model is $61,600.
Okay, but that's actually pretty affordable if you're looking for that kind of a car. And if you're looking for that kind of car, it's a positive note that it's a 6-speed manual. Not a lot of manuals in the car industry anymore, and you're getting into these niche cars that are going to be the only ones that have that available. Everybody else is ditching it for the electronic.
Here's the thing. Isn't Jag owned by Ford?
Yeah.
So you're competing with yourself. It's not a competitor to the Mustang. The Mustang's base price, if you wanted a
Matchbox
V8,
cars by yourself, man, you're like,
yeah, that's what they think people are doing.
That's what they're doing.
So the base Mustang starts at $35,600.
Okay. Yeah.
$36,000 for a no-frills V8. If you just want V8 power, and the regular, not the upgraded versions, the regular Mustang V8 comes with 460 horsepower. I built one with all the bells and whistles. I didn't go with that. They also offer the flappy paddle gearbox if you don't know how to shift. I could only get it up as high as 45,000.
That's not bad. That's pretty reasonable.
That's reasonable for a Mustang.
Yeah.
But this is like if you want a better car, you're not competing.
I mean, especially with Mustangs, there's a lot more. You have the Shelbys that we started off the podcast with, and there's a lot of different things that you could go to if you want something. But for just a base one, especially if you know you're going all aftermarket with your shit, and
Yeah.
you're a tinkerer yourself, and you're like, nah, that's fine. Just getting a base model for 36 and then building up from there.
Yeah, that's
that
not
makes
bad.
it more of an economic, entry point for the car.
It's a great entry point. So, next story is a bit of a. I just like the picture. This is the Acura one.
There we go.
This one I got. This is a new Acura race car. I picked it because I really like the look of it.
Very.
And Acura is doing good things.
It's reminded me of that Far Cry New Dawn you're playing because there's pink.
Yeah, I just finished it. It looks like it belongs in Far Cry New Dawn, and it's pink for a reason.
Can you make that in there? A little NSX there.
I don't possess any computer programming skills, so I'm going to say no.
Modding community, get on it.
Myers Shank Racing has went with a new look, and with this car, they've raised $20 million for cancer research.
There you go.
It will
Good stuff. That explains
debut.
the pink.
It'll debut at Daytona at the end of January.
Awesome, good stuff.
So pink. I'm assuming they're raising it for breast cancer,
I
but
gotta
they
tell
just
you,
say cancer.
That thing is ludicrously fast. Those new NSXs, ludicrous speed.
And it's a good looking car. Look at
Fantastic.
that. That's a hot supercar.
Yeah.
I just picked it.
It looks like a supercar. I love every day when I get to see one.
Yeah, and Acura is just getting some airtime because they donated $20 million to cancer research.
Hey,
The next story is very underwhelming. I thought it might be good conversation. The MDX RDX1 Forbes is reporting there's no big changes to the Acura MDX or the RDX.
No, there's not.
Pretty much
They're just trying to get shit.
business as always.
Yeah, they're just trying to get shit right.
Everything's the same. The MDX will be 290 horsepower with a V6. Sounds kind of limp to me. 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. The RDX will be a 2-liter VTEC, 272 horsepower, 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, which they claim
I know what they claim.
has similar acceleration. So
They say
it
that.
cut to me. I'll do the
They're
commentary.
steering away from the V6. If you got before they did the remodel, which was, I believe, 2019. So if you have a 2018 RDX, I think it's like 18 to 14 RDX, you have a V6, which, yeah, you have a rubber timing belt. F that. You have a V6 engine and a lighter chassis than the MDX. The MDX is that car will never die. I've seen MDXs at 200-300, upwards of that, 1,000 miles. These cars will last. There's minor bugs and glitches. You're adding more technology into the mix, so maybe that will have effects later on. But Acura is synonymous with lasting long. But I just think that going to a 4-cylinder turbo is a bad idea.
Yeah.
I know it's a lighter engine, and a turbo does give it pickup, but you have turbo lag as well as the drive-by-wire systems.
I kind of feel like on regular day-to-day driving, you're going to be disappointed.
Like with the GTI, I knew how long the delay was before the power kicked in. And you have to have that mental note in the back of your head when you're doing something like that with those kind of cars.
They claim that they'll have similar acceleration. So,
But
when we go to the next story, the next story should be Nissan, the 2020 ugly vehicle. It looks roughly the same.
the Nissan Rogue.
It looks roughly the same
Oh, that looks exactly the same.
because
I remember
there
when I
are
rolled that out.
many more pictures. So if you want to know what it looks like, it's going to look like this, but more expensive.
Now I did have
Different
I had the
company.
pleasure. I had the pleasure when this car came out, when they did the redesign for the Rogue. I had the pleasure of driving it with a Nissan rep. I was a salesman for Nissan at the time, and we drove one of those, and we drove the CRV. CRV up until recently looked the exact same for a very long time, and we were driving in the Rogue, and everybody's commenting like, "Oh wow, look at all this! It looks really nice in here and all that." To where the Nissan is kind of plain, and then I said, "Look, the Nissan is like a 1950s housewife. It can take all the beating that you give it." And the Nissan rep was like, "What was your name again?" And I said one of the other salesmen I didn't like. And
The thing is with Nissan, I bought it. I drive a Nissan car, not one of this thing. But you buy it because you want something that's going to be able to last and take a beating. And when you drive it, I like my car and all, but you're going to take a beating with that suspension. That suspension's going to get you.
Oh man, that's Nissan.
Especially if you got a bad hip or something.
That's the difference between.
I got it because I don't want to have to buy a car for the next decade or so.
And I haven't had the pleasure to drive a Mitsu or any of the other Japanese brands, but between Nissan and Acura Honda, I think Honda has a way better suspension than Nissan. I mean, we've seen the Sentra, I've seen plenty of Altimas, Maximas, all that. Going down to the Versa, there's compared to like a 94 Integra, their suspension is still shit.
So they say it's going to be a 2.5 liter. I added this story because it's actual gas powered.
Yeah.
4-cylinder with a backup camera, Apple CarPlay, and more. 175 horsepower, 175 torque. 26 to 33 miles per gallon. It'll run you about 26K to 33.
And here's Matt Man's tip for the week. If you do have one of these cars with Apple CarPlay, make sure you have a legit Apple cable to plug in. Because if you go with those aftermarket brand bullshit, it's not going to work right. And then you're just going to create headaches for everybody else. So if you do have CarPlay, make sure you have the right cable. That's it.
Yeah, so,
over.
As SUVs go, this is an SUV.
Pretty plain, Inside
looks.
Yeah.
It looks nicer than my car, but it's still,
it looks like a Nissan.
It's not a bad looking interior. Look like they got the leather there.
Yeah.
Looks like, Nissan, plenty of room for all your daily driving needs.
Yeah, very Nissan right here. That's the other thing. I really love Acura's navigation.
So,
They'll let you know, like, you're coming up to a turn, and it'll show you 200 feet. You're going to get into this lane. Really responsive.
Not as good as Waze.
No.
But, so the next story should be the GTR. Oh, no, just type in...
Right here?
Liberty GTR. Oh, this one I picked because I like the picture of the GTR, and that's...
Liberty.
So, Liberty Performance, as you see on the front there, has a brand new body kit.
Slammed to the ground, as the kids say.
It's an all-carbon fiber R35 GTR body kit.
Oh, yeah, you are.
The
You're
price, it looks sexy as fuck.
Yeah, you're a dirty bitch.
Yeah, it's a dirty, dirty girl. Carbon fiber, I think it looks awesome. And this photo here is the whole reason why I put that up.
Aggressive. Just look.
It looks aggressive. It looks great. How much do you think it costs? Just the body kit.
Oh, just the body kit? I'd say upwards of 10 G's.
$74,000.
Like I said, upwards.
Because it's all carbon fiber.
Way upwards, but
so,
I was still right.
Not a very long story, but you know what? It really looks nice.
It does. I love the GTR.
If you're a wealthy billionaire and have a few extra dollars,
and it's not a Skyline. It's just a GTR.
Yeah.
Skyline is manual train.
Next thing we have Tesla doing some interesting and innovative things.
What's all Elon smoking now?
Old Elon for the last year, this is the only photo we got.
Yeah.
So for the last year, Elon has been trying to move to China.
What the fuck?
So a year ago...
No mayhem.
I'm your 70-pound St. Bernard puppy.
I bet you are. You're not an ad. We don't pay you. Shut up.
So for the last... There you go. There's a photo that's not... So for the last year, these are the happy winners. For the last year, Elon Musk has been working to bring a factory to China. Okay. So they did finally open that factory, and on the opening of the factory, they gave Tesla Model 3 to its workers. 15 lucky workers on the groundbreaking of the factory. The factory is now open in China, and Elon Musk is going to be ringing in the dough.
That's a really great
15 workers have the first model car. So if you're a car collector in China,
talk to them.
Go offer them a little more, because I see them as worth something someday. Put it in a barn.
Yeah.
A nice barn find for chasing classic cars.
Later on.
The international version.
And that's a great idea, because especially if your car isn't working, now you have an excuse on why you're not coming to work.
Yeah. So,
well, I don't know. You gave me the car, Elon. Why can't I come to work?
I wouldn't buy an electric car simply because of the battery. I might think about leasing one, but when you replace that battery, that's going to sting.
Yeah.
No, I'm not subscribing to.
This is CNN.
But when you replace that battery, that is gonna sting. So
Yeah. Well, in the long run,
But,
I think that if you put like a warranty extension or something like that to make sure you're not paying for it before it needs like deemed to go.
there you go. The car costs about $51,000 for its cheapest model.
2%
The Model 3 in Tesla, it costs about $51,000 translated to American. So that's not bad. It's very nice of Elon to give away cars.
What was that? Buyers of the local-made cars can also take advantage of the government subsidies of nearly 25,000 yuan, which is about three.
You know, when China gets behind something, it's gonna take off.
And it's an
They're
exempt
big-
car purchase. That's why. So you're getting a good bit back from them.
Yeah,
for
they give you
being
money back because they
energy
want.
conscious.
You know, say what you want about communists in China. When they put their mind to something, no, they get on that shit.
Just give them a little green thumb idea, and boom, China done.
So the next story I added in because it's a neat story.
Third
Oh, yeah.
generation Maserati.
The Maserati Quattroporte is now 40 years old. No, that doesn't take you to the photo. That's a trick. Road and track.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Just leave it there. You can go back
Yeah.
to see the other photos of the
Ah, there you go.
Quattroporte. But
Now that's a front end.
though I included it because it's a beautiful looking old car.
Absolutely.
300 horsepower in that one on the
See,
screen.
That says classy to me.
That's a classy interior.
That is a classy wood
But-
grain interior trim right there. Leather. Probably just drives
Cream
like
looks like a
treat.
cream leather, light colored wood accent.
I guarantee you, driving this probably
Beautiful
feels
car.
like you're driving a Nimbus Cloud.
But then again, this one is
Dragon
what's
Ball.
the year? It's a Maserati from the 80s, so it's probably gonna be expensive. It is a good look. Maseratis are good looking cars.
Oh yeah, and then you look at that ass.
that is a
classy,
nice looking car
nice.
for the day.
Tight, very
It's third generation
really,
first car.
Yeah, really screams.
But it's 40 years old, and it looks like they're still going strong with the
That's
insanity
garage kept.
that is a Maserati.
Yeah, that's garage kept. You can tell that because all the paint's still perfect. Everything looks good in the
You
car.
would have to own an Italian car, but you know what? It might be worth it if you had the money. Not as a primary
As long
driver,
as it's not a Fiat.
but as Italian. Italians make a car as good as they can be made up until lunch, where they all have a couple bottles of wine and production and accuracy goes downhill at that point. The next story is a fun story as well to end it off. I picked this one for the photos, but a father and son have 3D printed. That's a news story. You don't want to go there. I just want the.
We're talking right here, right now. Rock
God
and
damn you.
rollin'.
The prices
We'll
that
just
we
start
are
from
giving
the
you
top
are
once you pause.
unbelievable. This is like buying a Ferrari.
So, a father and son have 3D printed a Lamborghini Aventador. The son was playing Forza 3 in 2018.
Nice.
And the father and son got behind it, and they, for $23,000, they 3D printed their very own Lamborghini Aventador. Lamborghini found out, instead of suing them,
That's okay. Okay.
they said, you give us that, and you can have this brand new Aventador S.
Wow.
Which, they gave him an original Aventador S, which is really awesome. And I don't think they know what they're getting into in terms of price, but
No, but
But-
they made one. They can make
they
another
made one, a 3D printed one for $23,000.
That's impressive.
That's awesome stuff for someone, for a car company to do a fan. Here.
417,000.
Oh wait, what does it say? Custom
That is a hell of a
for
Christmas.
a day as a Christmas gift.
That is a Christmas gift right there. Hey, we'll
There
take
were
your
also
Aventador.
there were
Yes,
also rumors that they only gave it to him for 2 weeks, and they don't, and they'll get to keep their pretend.
Okay,
Lambo.
well, still.
But either way, even to have one for 2 weeks, just because you 3D printed
still
one,
just 3D
you
printed
have
one.
a car. Now they have a car that's a bit cheaper,
Yeah.
and they have a quality ride to drive around in for 2 weeks, which
Absolutely.
is pretty nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff.
All right.
So, this has been the inaugural podcast of Lugnutz, the car podcast on the Purge Hangers and Wall Hangers Media Network. You can find this one, probably pop it up there tomorrow. You will find this on SoundCloud and all of our, just go to any kind of podcast network, type in Purge Hangers and Wall Hangers, and you'll find us.
Everywhere you want to find podcasts. So we thank you for
Absolutely.
listening, everybody.
Yeah, we thank you for watching and thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you later on for another edition of the Triforce podcast. This has been podcast 79. I, of course, am one Matthew Bucarell, the Batman, and big brother Stephen Bucarell, hosting off Lugnutz. Come back again. We'll revisit the Lugnutz podcast, and we'll see you later on for the Triforce podcast, where we go over all the latest and nerdy news.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Off to the races, boys and girls. Bye-bye. It's not like all Priuses are leaving, so it's not like we could throw the parade just yet.
Yeah, like pick a color.
Go to timeout. Yeah, let's be honest. You don't care what he looks like? No.
Someone will be delivering noodles in Japan.
Yeah. Saying she's been sitting out there for a half hour and nobody has come to pump her gas. Look, the Nissan is like a 1950s housewife. It can take all the beating that you give it.
Pizza. Oh, hon. Pizza. Cuckoo.
Happy trails.
Buns.